Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Joseph Gissy, and this is my Financial Professional Podcast. Now, if you are in the finance industry, whether you're in wealth management or you're on the insurance side, this podcast will hopefully benefit you. The goal of this is to help give you some tricks, tips, and help you grow your business. Eventually, I'd like to have people do some Q&A as we grow the audience. But the purpose of this is to make sure that you understand what is going on in today's modern world with marketing, sales strategies, growth strategies for you to maximize your potential and grow your business. So let's get into it. All right, everybody, happy Friday. Today is April 14th, 2023. I'm starting this podcast out on a Friday. Why? Because one, I'm just excited because it's a Friday and everybody's happier on Fridays. And two, just because part of what I'm training people and teaching them is you just got to start. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter what time. You just have to get going. Now, I happen to be in my favorite location, which is my home office. Got a big screen, big light here. Got my fancy mic. Don't know why I have a globe in the background now that I'm looking at it on the screen. But either way, maybe that will change over time. Maybe I'll make this prettier. But it doesn't really matter. The point of this is that you just have to start yourself. So I'm going to go over three things right now that I really want to talk to people about when it comes to growing your business today. The first thing I want to talk about is one, you just got to take your business seriously. We're going to talk about what that really means. Two, we're going to talk about branding. And three, we're going to talk about social media. Don't know if I'm going to talk about them in that order. I will hit all three subjects, or all three topics for us. But at some point, you're going to have to get these three things down. And I'm going to continue to dive into these subjects as we progress on. I plan on doing this for 30 minutes each morning. So tune in. You can find me on various channels. Maybe I'll link them down below. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, now TikTok. Now I'm doing podcasts and I'm on every different podcast channel that I can possibly find out there. And the reason being is because I want to make sure that I want to make it easier for an audience to find me. That's pro tip number one. Make it easier for people to do business with you, okay? I'll get into that a little bit later, but that is something that you're going to really need to figure out for yourself, or just tune into my show, right? But bottom line is just trying to help you guys understand some of this stuff. So let's get into taking your business seriously. And if you're not, and what do I mean by this? You're probably sitting here listening, well, hey, I take my business seriously already. Then you need to be growing, or you need to figure out a way to grow, or you need to do something different, because what has been working in the last 3 years, 5 years, the pre-COVID world does not work today. And I'm not just saying, okay, do everything 100% online. That's not what I'm talking about. In fact, as we speak, I'm doing this 30-day business challenge, which is basically starting up a little business and getting in front of an audience and actually getting some sales out of it in 30 days. I actually am documenting it via YouTube. I'm building content out of it. And I'm actually walking down and meeting businesses door to door in order to get them to come to this event of mine. So it doesn't have to all be digital. Now, I'm also using some digital techniques, and I can get into that another time, or you can follow my YouTube station if you're interested in learning that stuff. I am a big believer that I won't tell you anything that I won't physically or personally do myself. I won't tell you anything that I don't have experience or don't have the knowledge of, trial and error. I love trying new things. My background is sales and marketing ever since I was young. Been in different industries, been in the consumer product industry, happen to own my own financial platform right now called Tactive. And I just came out with a book called Dominate Digital. It's a how-to step-by-step guide for financial professionals. You're more than welcome to check it out, download it on Amazon, all that fun stuff. What I mean by going back to taking your business seriously is that you have to utilize these techniques that are available to us today that weren't available to us 10, 15, 20 years ago. If you are still doing the same things as you were doing even 5 years ago and expecting different results, that's the pure definition of insanity. I'm sure you've used these in some of your seminars yourself, but it's not the same. One thing that happened to me, I want to say I started getting into seminar marketing. We're in 2023 now. It was probably 2016, 2017 is when I really started ramping up my own seminars. Actually, no, now I'm thinking about it. Even earlier than that, it was 2014. Sorry about that. So it was about 2014, 2015 when I started doing my own seminars. Even back then, now I was in Los Angeles, California, Westlake Village, for those that really want to get specific, because everybody always asks, okay, well, what part? So I was out in Westlake Village, living in Woodland Hills, but doing my workshops in Westlake. I was only mailing out about 5,000 flyers. Now, some of you are on this going, wow, that's a lot. Some of you are on here, not nearly enough. But at the time, I was not getting the results. And I couldn't figure out, I was asking a couple of the advisors that were having success, and that's what they were doing. they were mailing out 5,000 flyers, and they were getting rooms full of people that they could do their workshop on and then have their prospecting process, and they'd get clients. My first one was a bust. I had 2 or 3 people show up. It was workshop on Social Security. So what I had to do, what the solution was, Joe, spend more money on flyers and mailers. So I did. And, lo and behold, I ended up tripling the amount of people that I went to. So I went to 15,000 households instead of 5,000, filled up the room. Then I finally had some meetings and I finally had some success. But starting out, it was brutal because it took, the sales process is long. It took about 90 days to close a client. That's from this paying money out of the pocket, doing the workshop, the seminar, going through meetings. Finally, they closing, money moving over, me getting paid. That process is about 90 days. And I guarantee it's about 90 days for the majority of you. And then you're going to get in this rut, especially if you're starting out or you're re-ramping up and you're going, okay, I'm going to do a workshop a month. Well, now you just made enough money after 3 months because you've had to outlay 3 months of workshops to now pay for your next workshop and just pay your expenses. But you really don't make that much more money by doing it. So you're going to have to figure out a structured way to layer it out. So you can do 2 things. You can either spend more money and do more workshops more frequently, quicker, if you want to ramp it up. And you can start doing things that maybe you weren't necessarily doing in order to capture leads. Now, what really makes me crazy about this stuff is that everybody shifted from doing dinner seminars, COVID hits, and now everybody's doing webinars. And webinars are amazing. They are great. They are an amazing tool to evergreen what you've done, or they're an amazing tool because it's really easy. You can be here at your home. Some of you are still wearing suits and ties on your webinar. Don't take that. Just get rid of the tie for a while. It's okay. There's going to be a support group for you to ditch the tie. I understand some of you even have to wear your coat. There's going to be a support group for that. Be a human being on these webinars. I'm in my favorite V-neck blue t-shirt, right? Just what I'm comfortable, but I'm doing this, just being comfortable. And that's also a podcast. So it's a little different setting, but at the same time, in my webinars, I might put a polo on. I might put a button-up shirt, not wearing a coat anymore. And I'm definitely not wearing a tie. But those are great tools. The problem with what I found is that they have gotten ungodly expensive. So I'm noticing that you're still paying $300 per lead to come to your webinar. Now you have the webinar companies, and I think they're doing an excellent job getting people in front of advisors, but they have a big staff and they got to make their margins, but they're charging you the same amount as what it would do to almost do a dinner seminar. And, it might be off a little bit. There are people that do some dinner seminars very cost effectively. And, maybe they have a big referral network or they've built a big email database over time. So it's costing them a lot less. And I get that, but that's not what everybody has done so far. $300, a seat just to have somebody listen to your webinar, where your appointment ratio at a webinar is way lower than your appointment ratio with a dinner seminar. So what are you going to do to drive some of these costs down? You got to figure out ways, to do this. Either you could do this yourself and you could do your own digital ads out there to drive to your own webinar. And I highly encourage you to do so. Or you can outsource to other companies out there that, are doing things slightly differently, where you're not going to have to spend all the money on those leads, right? The other thing with a lot of these marketing companies that are doing the webinars for you, they might have the nurturing campaign afterwards. And they said, we're going to give you a 30, 45-day, 90-day nurturing campaign. You could utilize that and then start doing that yourself after your own webinars and save yourself money on the next one. There are so many systems now out there that make this easy, that you just have to find something that works for you. You got to spend a little bit more time doing the diligence and figuring out, how do I connect all the dots? The issue I have with a lot of the TAMP platforms out there, and I'm going to bash on them a little bit only because I'm, like I said, I own one. But look, I'm not doing this podcast because, I don't care what TAMP you're with. I don't care what RIA. I don't care what broker dealer you're with. I'm hopefully giving you some tips that you can use with anybody out there, right? I just care about helping people with their business. So the problem I see is that most firms, even though they're there because they're there to help you grow your business, they don't have any marketing programs really for you. They don't have any other marketing systems in place for you. They're not doing anything in today's marketing environment to help you really grow. Okay, if they're giving you materials, so you're getting materials for them, like maybe you get a workshop, you get a PowerPoint. That's cool. You're going to need that. If you can't build it yourself, you don't have the time to build it yourself. I completely get it. I understand. Or you can also buy systems. There's a horse's mouth out there. You can buy an entire year for less than $3,000. I think it's like just over $2,000 for their big package. I don't get any money from horse's mouth. I've looked into them. I actually think they're a great company just from the materials that they're going to give you. You're going to get that stuff, but then how do you market it out there, right? Also, getting back to this, bringing this back into the taking your business seriously is understanding all the metrics numbers that you have. I just remember in previous lives, and actually when I was doing this myself and I was an advisor, I understood every dollar I spent. I understood the ROI of that dollar. I knew if I spent X amount on mailers, I should expect X amount of people, and X amount of people, I need to make sure that X amount shows up. I would know that number. I would know how many people book an appointment with me. I would know that number. How many people drop off between booking an appointment to coming into my meeting? What is that number? That's just smart marketing business. So you can tweak those systems and tweak those processes. The other thing that most advisors don't even understand, you don't even understand your own book of business. You couldn't tell me, what's the average age of your audience? What's the target? Are you more couples focused? Are you more man? Are you more female focused? Give me some stats about how many clients you have, how many households you have. You all know your AUM number, but do you know your margin? Do you know your gross profit? I mean, these are other stats you need to understand to take your business seriously. But what you really need to start doing is you really need to start doing your research, and you really need to start listening to people that are making this stuff work. And you need to start implementing things. Like I said, this is a Friday. I'm starting this podcast for you, the advisor. I'm just doing it. You just got to start. Don't overthink this stuff. It's not that complicated. There is some work. You have to put some time into it, but you don't need to overthink it. So this is going to bring me into my next part of what I was going to talk to you about, creating a brand and social media. And by the way, I drink these little bubbly waters, Waterloo or whatever brands they are, all the time, just because I love them. And 2, they're refreshing. And 3, I like water. So there it is. If you see me drinking on this, no big deal. It's just what I'm going to do. The problem with us in the financial business is we are getting our asses kicked. We are being taken to school by people who do not have financial licenses. I am not just talking about the Dave Ramseys, the Susie Ormans, the Jim Cramers, you name it, who's on traditional TV and now has a huge online presence. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the 20 to 30-year-olds that have the attention of the audience, that listen to them for financial guidance. And unfortunately, they give whatever the hell they want, unabided by the SEC. There's no governance of them. They can say whatever is going on out there and just nothing going on, but they have the audience, they have the eyeballs. So we are getting our asses kicked. And there's 98% of the advisors listening to this right now, you're not going to do a darn thing about it. 2% of you are going to take some action, and you're going to make this work. That's just the stats. And I hope a lot more of you will. I hope we can get that up to 90, down to 90%, right? 10% of you that are going to go on this journey with me and they're going to learn from some of the stuff that I'm doing myself, or maybe you work with me, you're going to be super successful with this because you're going to be doing this. And you're going to be doing it today. But if you are not building, I'm going to go into brand. If you're not building your brand today on the internet, you're going to get your asses kicked by the 20, 30-year-olds. They're going to figure out business. They're going to figure out how to monetize their brand. And you're still going to be trying to figure out how to get more people or spend more money on your dinner seminar or your webinar. And by the way, we're having the biggest wealth transfer. You know it. You talk about this because the majority of you are focusing on just the retirees. Some of you are getting smart and you're starting to focus on this next generation. But one of the biggest growing demographics on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook happen to be the boomers. There's this crossover between the boomers and there's a crossover between the next generation. They're on social media. More people are on social media than they watch Super Bowl. Less people watch Super Bowl for the Super Bowl. They watch for Rihanna or they're watching for the ads. That's the only time people ever watch ads anymore on regular TV. And nobody has regular TV anymore. I guarantee you the majority of you have Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or Apple or whatever else, Disney, whatever else is out there. Everybody decided to do their own digital streaming. So this thing, this internet thing that's happening right now, you need to get on board and you need to build your personal brand. And I'm talking about building a personal website. I have josephgissy.com. Okay. As of this, it's literally launching right now. You can come, you can join me there. You can follow me on social media. You can listen to my podcast all over the place, but I'm branding Joseph Gissy. Okay. Now I happen to own a company called Tactive. I'm very involved with it. And that's fine. And Tactive is building its brand through Tactive, right? That there's a difference between a brand and the individual. But if you're an advisor, you're a financial professional, you're an insurance agent, Even if you do real estate on the side, you have to be a personal brand. If you're not comfortable being in front of a camera, that's okay. You can write articles on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an amazing place to build a brand. In many cases, even in my case, there's another Joseph Gissy, or there's another person with your name out there. Now, Joseph Gissy that was out there happened to pass away a few years ago. He lived in Florida. I was living in California, two different people, right? But when you typed in Joseph Gissy on the internet, he would come up with some stuff and I would come up with some stuff. I don't know your personal name who's watching this right now, but if you were to type in just your name, do you come up? And does the information you want about yourself come up? So think about this. Even if you're just doing dinner seminars and webinars, okay? Even if you're taking out local ads in the paper, which I don't know why you would do that today, because the local ad is more expensive than it used to be. And the reason why it's more expensive is because they have to stay in business. So they're actually charging more people, where less people actually look at the local paper. So imagine that they're charging more to stay in business for the local paper, yet, anyways, won't go down that road. But what's the first thing somebody's going to do after they've received your flyer in the mail? They see your logo. They're going to Google the brand name, right? So you have your firm out there, and that's beautiful. You got this magical sunset. You got the mountains. You have that same retired looking couple that's either on the sailboat pointing in the distance, or they're holding each other hand in hand walking down the beach. I know because I've looked at 1,000 different advisor websites, and you all have the same thing. And you're probably laughing like I am because you know it's true. But here's the reality. You want somebody, when they Google your name, when they get that flyer, they're looking to see who is this presenter? What's their background? What's their credibility? You need to make sure that your information comes up. And if you have a personally branded website and it's about you, guess what? That's going to rank a little higher. Some of you might have some stuff that you really don't want available on the internet, and you don't want it shown out there. I mean, there's bad stuff that happens to everybody. We're human. Things happen. But what if somebody who has your name out there got arrested for something, for fraud, and now somebody's going to look up your name and they say, so-and-so arrested for fraud? Like, do you want that shown? Or do you want the stuff saying, I'm actually a trustworthy person and I'm here to help you? I remember, so my previous firm, Capital Management Services, my father's firm still owns it. And I was out when I was out in California, we had this issue because the CMS, Capital Management Services, is also a debt collection agency. I would literally have my phone ringing off the hook for people calling saying, you sent me a notice, I need to pay a bill, or you need to stop calling me. And I would just say, hey, different capital management, right? There's a problem there. So we had to figure out ways to try to get Capital Management Services, the financial services company, and me as an advisor ranking higher, right? So there are tools and tricks. We'll get into that on another podcast. But my main point is you need to create a brand. It needs to be about you. And I know a lot of you are sitting there going, hey, you know what? I don't want to do it. It's not about me, and I don't want my image out there. And you know what? You got to get over it. If you're not going to do it, you're not going to survive moving forward. I fought it. I actually was off Facebook since 2010 till very recently. I fought all this stuff because I wanted to just be behind the scenes. I didn't want to build a brand. But the more I've learned about this stuff over the past few years, the more I realized that it's inevitable. If you want to grow and build your business, you got to actually become the brand, right? Elon Musk is the brand. Jeff Bezos is now the brand. And if, Donald Trump, like or don't like him, he's a brand, right? It doesn't matter. For you to have any type of credibility moving forward, you are the brand. If you're going to be an advisor working with people, if your job is to be sitting in front of other people, you have to be the brand. I need you to get that through your head right now. You have to be the brand for this. So how do you create the brand? It has to be digital marketing. If you're not on social media, like I was just talking about, if you don't have the main ones, like, look, I get it. You may not want to do a YouTube. You may not want to do a podcast. I'm going to argue that you should, but you may not want to, and that's okay. But at least get on LinkedIn. As a professional, LinkedIn is the professional website. You can do a lot with LinkedIn. You can build a business around LinkedIn by itself. But get on LinkedIn. You're going to have to get on Facebook. You're going to have to get on Instagram. You're going to have to get on Twitter. And I hate to say it, you may want to look at TikTok. And I don't care what it's saying in the media, and it may go away. But in the meantime, there's an audience there. And here's the reality. It's not for kids anymore. Fastest growing demographic on TikTok is 18 to 35-year-olds. So if you're not doing some stuff on TikTok, you're not learning how to do some little videos, then you're missing out. But building your brand has never been easier in the history of mankind than it is right now with social media, digital marketing. You had to spend thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in publications and TV ads to build your brand. We don't have to do that anymore. You can do all this for virtually free. Like, yeah, you can do digital advertising. You can do Facebook ads. You can do Google ads. You can build all this stuff up. But if you get the rest of your digital marketing and you put this in line together and it all works together, you can build a machine through your social media that actually works for you, whether you're awake or asleep, doesn't matter. How many of you would rather have thousands of people, organic clients, come to you because they see you and you're engaging with them on social? And what I mean by engaging with me, I mean by actually engaging with them. It's actually not that hard. Maybe you wrote something and somebody comments on your post. How many seconds of the day is it going to take for you just to look at your phone and say, hey, I appreciate your comment, MM357 at yahoo.com, whoever you are? It takes a couple seconds, but now you're engaging with somebody. The other issue is we have this issue where when we're doing dinner seminars, I just want to give you this scenario for a minute. Many of you are basically telling people when they come to you, if they're trying to come back and watch a dinner seminar, you're trying to kick them out or say they're not welcome or, go to something else. So think about this. To make a buying decision, I learned this through some other companies that I've worked with in the past. It takes people more than 10 times of seeing your brand before they're going to make a buying decision. So let me walk you through the scenario. If you're doing a dinner seminar, you did a mailer. There's one point that they saw your logo, right? Okay, now they're coming to see you at the dinner. They've seen you twice. You invited them in for a meeting, discovery session, seen you 3 times. You invite them back because you figured you can help them and they got $1 million. 4th time they come in to see you. Okay, well, now you realized that you're going to put this plan together and you want to engage them. Now you've seen them maybe 5 times and you're asking for their entire portfolio. And some of you are having some success with that. Many of you are not. Your numbers are actually worse than you probably think. I consider it, advisor stats are almost like gambler stats. Everybody's going to talk about all these successes and the big scores that they get. They don't realize that the house has been winning the whole time, right? That you're actually losing and you're not gaining as many people. And you're doing things to off-put people because they haven't had enough time to make a buying decision on you to actually work with you. So imagine with social media, they're going to see you 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 times before they make a buying decision. And they decide you're the person they're going to put their $1 million portfolio with. And you can then do whatever you want because now you're the expert. You got to build credibility. You're building your brand with people and you're getting that extra exposure that you wouldn't be able to buy or even use through other means of traditional marketing. So get back to the dinner seminar thing, just because I want to make this point across before I wrap this up today. Think about this. Let me give you this tidbit of information. So if you're doing dinner seminars and somebody constantly wants to come in and do your dinner, here's how I would approach it. I would call that person and I would say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I understand you guys were at my tax workshop on Masters last month and you signed up again this month. Maybe instead of coming in to watch the same presentation, why don't I take you out to dinner? Let's go. Where would you like to go? If you guys are using it as a way, this way you don't have to listen to me drone on about the same stuff. We don't even have to talk finance. Let's just get to know each other, but let's go to dinner. What if you took that approach, which is a different approach? Like I said, it doesn't all have to be digital marketing. You could actually change some things up that you're doing today. And what would happen if you actually learned, I enjoyed your workshop. I wanted some more information. I do realize that I get a lot of these and I could probably eat for free, but I just wasn't ready to come see you yet because I wasn't ready to retire. I'm not retiring for 3 more years. Well, if you had a 1-hour dinner with that person, one, you're spending a lot less money, right? Probably just for those 2 than doing a whole nother mailer and then they're taking up another seat. But now you're connecting with somebody on a one-on-one level and you're connecting with that person. And now you're going to understand their motivation. If they don't take you up on it, then they're the plate licker like you don't like. And then you can figure out the way to kick them out the door or just say, hey, look, why don't you just join my Facebook group? I get that you don't want to do it, but if you like this stuff, we have a group for you. Or you know what? I have a LinkedIn group right now for local dentists in the area. It sounds like you're a dentist. We actually just get together once a month and we have coffee. Nothing but dentists, other people in your field. Like there are other things you can do through social media and moving people that direction that cost you nothing. You can get creative with this stuff. And that's the beauty. So big thing I wanted to start with today. One, I want to thank everybody for jumping on this. I only want to do this for about 30 minutes a day because again, I'm busy. I got a lot of other things going on, but also I don't want to spend too much time with you, not with you, but too much time, taking too much of your time. There we go. That's what I meant to say. So reverse that, edit that out. If we don't keep it in, it's fun. We can use it later. But the bottom line is let's make this quick, 30 minutes. get some information, utilize this. I hope you find this thing useful. I hope you find it valuable, but this isn't anything that you can't be doing for yourself to prospect clients, to get people, to be in front of people, build content, just doing it, just getting out there, doing something that's different, taking your business seriously, taking it to the next level, literally taking it to a new level. This is different. This is new. 98% of the financial industry is not doing this. I'm like Wayne Gretzky. I'm going to go where the puck's going. I don't want to go where the puck has been. They're trying to figure this out. They haven't yet. Those that figure it out are only going to reap the benefits and rewards of doing it and being an early adapter, right? The early adapters get the hockey stick. And we've seen that. We all have success stories. There are those people that have the webinars, and they're the ones that taught us how to do webinars, pre-COVID, right during COVID. They had success, but you didn't get to see all the trials and tribulations that it took to get that. There's a process. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to get in place. And for those of you that want to just fast forward this and you want to expedite what you're doing, I have a book called Dominate Digital. It's a how-to guide for financial advisors. You can go to my website, josephgissy.com, and you can get it. It's off Amazon. You can go to Amazon actually and get it as well. Please like, follow, subscribe, all the fun stuff that we ask you to do. It's a little shameful plugs, but at the same time, this is what you need to do for your clients. And if you do like this stuff and you do want to start following along, you do want to start building and you want to start communicating with me, leave some comments below. All the things I'm telling you to do that you should be doing with me to engage with me, these are tips and tricks that you can be doing yourself, right? So the more you do and you learn how to do it with me, the more it's going to be easier for you to do it with others. And you're going to be able to share it with others. So everything I'm asking you to do, intro, outro, the podcast, social media, branding, all this stuff is going to help you grow your financial advisory practice, your insurance practice, real estate, whatever you're into. Like I said, this is mostly for financial professionals. If you happen to stumble on this channel and you work in another field, you can use this in another field. I'm just basically talking because of the experience I have in the financial industry and in the company that I work currently with is Tactic. That's my business. So more than welcome to. You can also email me and you can schedule a meeting with myself or somebody from our team, and we could talk about how to help put a digital marketing strategy together for you and your practice, right? So if you really like that and you really want to learn about that, go ahead and email us and schedule a meeting. Other than that, I really hope you enjoyed this first podcast. Putting it on YouTube, throwing it everywhere we possibly can, throwing it on the websites. This is Joe Gissy signing off. Thanks for listening.